This is Chancellor Zabanda with the news. The headlines. Controversial senior magistrate Benedicto Chisakamire and two others. Chakwera pays courtesy call to former Malawi leader Dr. Bakiri Muluzi at his BCA Hill residence in Blantyre. Government nullifies financial repayment DPP administration made with Muli brothers amounting to 10.5 billion kwacha. And in sports, Nyamilandu loses FIFA council seat. Now the news in detail. The Judicial Service Commission has fired two magistrates, including Zomba Senior Resident Magistrate Benedicto Chisakamire, for unethical discharge of judicial functions. Judicial Registrar Gladys Gondwe, however, says he cannot diverge more details on dismissal of Chisakamire. Chisakamire came on the spotlight last year when he cancelled a High Court warrant of arrest for business magnate Dr. Thompson Mpinganjira in questionable circumstances. John Paul Kayuni picks up the story.
It all started with lawyer Lusungu Gondwe representing Dr. Thompson Mpinganjira, who travelled all the way from Blantyre at night to secure a court order in Zomba. In his late-night ruling, Senior Resident Magistrate Benedicto Chisakamire trashed the basis on which the Anti-Corruption Bureau (ACB) arrested Mpinganjira and subsequently cancelled his arrest warrant issued by another magistrate. His action raised more legal questions on whether a magistrate can overrule another magistrate order. When the matter was taken to the High Court, Judge Dorothy Nyakaunda Kamanga ordered that the magistrate be disciplined. After the disciplinary hearing, the Judicial Service Commission has resorted to relieve the magistrate of his duties. Judiciary Registrar Gladys Gondwe confirmed Chisakamire's dismissal but could not be drawn to diverge more details. However, Zodiak understands that Chisakamire has been dismissed on grounds of objectionable conduct in discharge of judicial functions and unethical conduct in connection to the Mpinganjira case. Apart from Magistrate Chisakamire, the Judicial Service Commission has also dismissed Magistrate Trust God Mkandavire of Edingeni Magistrate Court for objectionable conduct in discharge of judicial duties, unethical conduct, and absenteeism. Another magistrate, Cecilia Malemia, has been sent on forced retirement for misappropriating money. For Zodiac, this is John Paul Kayuni.
President Lazarus Chakwera has paid a courtesy call to former Malawi leader Dr. Bakiri Muluzi at his BCA Hill residence in Blantyre. Both State House and BCA have not disclosed details of the meeting. Our reporter Alex Banda was there for us and now explains.
President Lazarus Chakwera, under low key, without filings and all the pomp that the president travels with, was at the BCA Hill. This is the residence of former President Dr. Bakiri Muluzi. This was an unscheduled trip to the BCA Hills, where the president was meeting the former leader. We are not quite sure what the details of this meeting was, but on Thursday, it was mentioned that the State House and the Minister of Health had extended an invitation to the former leader to attend or to take part in the vaccination exercise for the COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine. But the former Malawi leader, Dr. Muluzi, was in no show. Apparently, this trip to the BCA by President Lazarus Chakwera is probably maybe a sign, ask the former leader to take part in show of solidarity. But we are not very quite sure of what transpired, as the State House Press Office was reluctant to divulge any information given the nature of this meeting. We're also trying to reach out to the former leader, Dr. Muluzi. He has not been available to comment as of now.
Government has nullified the financial repayment the DPP government made with Muli brothers to repay public resources that the company had when the 11.9 billion kwacha liquidation of the Malawi Savings Bank was made. According to Minister of Finance Felix Mlusu, out of 13 defaulters, Muli brothers alone held 10 billion kwacha, while the rest held only 1.8 billion kwacha. Mlusu says that the amount that Muli brothers held was accumulated to 10.5 billion kwacha, this owing to political interference and lack of political will back then, which further saw a government Muli brothers agreement to repay in 107 years. We have Western Guta reporting from Parliament.
In 2015, government sold the public Malawi Savings Bank MSB to FDH Bank, with some local companies owing the bank huge amounts in loans. One such company is Muli Brothers, which defaulted in the excess of 10.05 billion kwacha out of 13 defaulters which shared 1.08 billion kwacha. Responding to Lilongwe South Legislator Peter Dimba's request to know progress on recovery of loans from the time the bank was being sold, Finance Minister Felix Mlusu said Muli Brothers' loan has now accumulated to 10.5 billion kwacha, which according to the agreement the company signed with the present past Democratic Progressive Party government, the loan was to be paid in 5 million kwacha amounts, translating into 107-year period. Mlusu said efforts to recover the loans failed because of lack of political will and government interference, of which saw what Dimba described as a daylight robbery agreement. He further said despite the constitution of a committee to collect the funds, the then government acted without consulting the committee. For all this, and especially considering the 107-year period that Muli Brothers was to repay the loan according to the agreement that was signed on the run-up to the June 2020 election, government has nullified the agreement and will now engage and find a better solution of repayment. Reporting for Zodiak from Parliament Building, this is Western Guta.
Health rights organizations in the country believe vaccination is the most effective way of fighting COVID-19 and have since called on government to put aside funds to make sure that the majority of Malawians get the jab. This is contained in a statement the CSOs released in commemoration of the COVID-19 Global Pandemic Day, which falls on March 11. Ministers of Health and Finance recently told Parliament that funding Malawi will require at least 88 billion kwacha to finance COVID-19 vaccines rollout to the remaining over 60% of the population. Madali Sopiri with the details.
The health rights organizations are calling for increased funding because the global COVID-19 vaccines financing facility, COVAX, will support only 20% of populations in low-income countries such as Malawi. This translates to 3.8 million people of the total population. Mazgo Matemba of Health Rights Education Program says reaching the majority of the population with a vaccine is key to the socio-economic development of the country.
You know, we need to vaccinate almost 11 million Malawians for us to be safe with COVID-19, because the challenge which we have, people are not following the measures. You can agree with me, and it's so disappointing. Even though we have tried to send the messages, we have gone around reminding people are not following messages. So for adding the vaccination package and our prevention, I believe it's a way to go for this country so that we can start our normal life in the near future.
Meanwhile, Madali Tsotolani from Amref Health Africa believes there is need for cooperation with various stakeholders, including donors, for many Malawians to access the COVID-19 vaccines.
The amount, as you heard, is 88 billion. As the government of Malawi cannot do it alone. So we need a lot of partners to come together to support each other. This is very critical. We need a lot of resources, and we need to have joint efforts together to make sure that this has become a reality and we have the resources and the vaccines available in the country.
COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic by the World Health Organization, WHO, on 11 March last year. For Zodiac, this is Madali Tsopiri reporting.
Democratic Progressive Party regional governors have warned district and area officials to stop working with party vice president for the South, Kwagwanji Nkhani, or his agents. Speaking at a news briefing in Mangochi Friday, the four regional governors, led by party's vice president for the centre, Zodiak Chakwera, said the move comes as Nkhani has refused to apologize as he demanded about 2 weeks ago after accusing him of sponsoring thuggery. But Nkhani has told us that he cannot comment as the issue is already in court.
What the regional governors have said is they would want to control the regions, that this still of Kwagwanji Nkhani should not go into the regions, because it's like a divided party. It's bringing division in the party. So in order to bring peace, discipline, and a matter of control and respect in the party, what they are saying is they would not accept anybody who is not following the rules and the regulations of the party by following the principles and policies of the constitution. The party, DPP, has also its own rules which the members, if somebody says I'm a member of the DPP, has to follow those rules. So if somebody is also is also not following the rules which the party has put in place, then it means he's not a member of that party.
And still on politics, some political parties will be struck off the list of registered political parties in the country by May this year if they fail to amass 100 endorsement signatures from each district. Center for Multi-Party Democracy CMD Executive Director Kizito Nkhani says this will help bring sanity in politics. Political analyst George Piri predicts that most of Malawi's 60-plus political parties will not meet this requirement. Toera Kumwenda has filed this report.
Speaking to Zodiak, Executive Director for Center for Multi-Party Democracy, CMD, Kizito Nkhani, said come June, Malawians will be able to tell the future of many political parties in the country. Nkhani believes with the coming in of a new political act being reviewed by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, not all parties will achieve the requirements needed to be registered, as most of them are only active on paper.
So I think by the end of June, we'll know which parties have, survived this process. The issue is about looking at the political parties that are active, because the way our previous law was made was that one would register a party and then go under. There was nothing that would compel the party to show its existence.
Meanwhile, political analyst George Piri says come June, most political parties will not survive, which he said would be a good development as most parties are only active during the election period.
Most of the parties will not survive. Will not survive because most of them do not live up to the expectations of most Malawians. The political environment in the country shows clearly that we don't need all these political parties.
The country has over 60 registered political parties. Less than 10 of those parties are fully active. For Zodiak and Mzuzu, I'm Toera Kumwenda.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile?
All that in one toothpaste?
Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums.
Ah, Colgate Herbal.
Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Welcome back. You're with me, Chancellor Mlozabanda. Before we continue the news, let's take another look at the top stories. Judiciary fires controversial senior magistrate Benedicto Gitsagamire and two others. Chakwera pays courtesy call to former Malawi leader Dr. Bagiri Munuzi at his BCA Hill residence in Blantyre. Government nullifies financial repayment BPA administration made with Muli brothers amounting to 10.5 billion kwacha. In sports, Nyamilandu loses FIFA council seat. Now, moving on with the news, residents of GTP in Lilongwe vowed not to move an inch from the area which court ruled in favor of the Bangladesh national Muhammad Manani. Speaking Friday, the people led by Grove Village Nakutepa said they will challenge the ruling in the Supreme Court of Malawi. This week, in a default judgment, Justice Kenyatta Nyirenda ruled in favor of Manani and that he is owner of 200 hectares of land in GTP. Andrew Viano has filed this report.
Dust refuses to settle at Chitipi in Lilongwe, where locals there have refused to move out of a place on which a court ruled that it belongs to a Bangladesh national, Muhammad Manani. In his default judgment, Justice Kenyatta Nyirenda ruled that Manani is rightful owner of the 200 hectares of land and further granted permanent injunction restraining the villagers from entering the land. Justice Nyirenda further ordered the police to enforce the court order as defendants did not show up. But reacting to the ruling, villagers there have vowed that they will not move out of the place and keep on constructing. The villagers, led by Group Village Nakutepa, said what happened was daytime robbery.
This is pure robbery. It just started way back when he used to feed his cattle on this land, and later on decided to take over this land. We are looking for well-wishers to help us with legal battle so that we challenge the ruling and retain our land. About 1,000 people will suffer if this land is grabbed from us.
Controversy surrounding the land dates back to 2018.
Deputy Minister of Local Government has reminded Malawians that the clean-up exercise that the state president Lazarus Chakwera launched last year is still in effect. The Deputy Minister Halima Daudi said this on Friday in Lilongwe when the ministry resuscitated the exercise, which silently faded out due to COVID-19 restrictions. Western Good has the details.
Deputy Minister of Local Government Halima Daud has stated that it is traditional for humans to clean their surroundings for hygiene purposes. She said that due to the spread of COVID-19 restrictions, the cleaning exercise is stopped, but that does not guarantee that it should be forgotten. She has thus appealed to the general public, including government departments and business operators, to carry out the exercise on a daily basis.
We're supposed to be cleaning our environment almost every day. So we expect all Malawians to do the same. Call the Minibus Association of Malawi, the taxi drivers and the owners of the shops, their representatives. We had a meeting, we've urged them to have a plastic bag in their cars so that when somebody is eating, let them not throw the rubbish outside the car, but let them use the plastic bags they have in the car.
Last year, President Lazarus Chakwera launched the National Cleaning Day, which is the second week of every month, to inspire people to achieve a clean environment in homes and business premises. Reporting for Zodiak in Lilongwe, I am Western Guta.
European Union, United Nations and other diplomatic missions in Malawi say Malawi media landscape continue to disadvantage women as most institutions are still thin in trusting women in decision-making positions. Charge to Affairs of EU in Malawi, Aureli Vatat, and UN Women Representative Clara Anyangwe, and female heads of Belgium and Flanders diplomatic missions have since pledged to embark on a research whose results will help media houses incorporate women in decision-making positions. They were speaking Thursday evening in Lilongwe during a cocktail to celebrate International Women's Day with focus on empowerment of women in media. Jacqueline Shema reports.
A recent study conducted by the Gender Links in collaboration with the Gender and Media Southern Africa Network and the Gender and Media Diversity Center of South Africa found that Malawi has very few female practitioners in the media industry. The study revealed that women constitute 41% of employees in media houses, a figure which is the lowest in the African region, as compared to 59% of men. The figures, according to international organizations such as EU and UN, create limited opportunities for women voices on matters that often affect them, especially this time when gender-based violence issues are rampant. UN Women Representative Clara Anyangwe said the current media landscape is disadvantaging the few female media practitioners to speak out by writing stories on women and girls that reflect their experiences in the workplace.
We need to ensure that we have many more women at the decision-making level. It is very critical. And as the United Nations and working in close collaboration with the EU within the framework of the Spotlight Initiative, we really have to delve deeper into this issue of the leadership, that is the female media, the women in media, to see how we can work with the decision makers within the media houses. We talked about quota. The quota thing should not only apply at the level of parliament or councils, but also within your space. So we need a lot of lobbying and advocacy to see how we can look at the quota system. Why not? Even within your area of work.
EU Charge to Affairs for Malawi, Aureli Vatal, says with the gaps on gender-based violence in media institutions, her organization is planning to conduct a new research on how best women in media can be supported.
Well, we've had conversation where we've identified that there is a gap in data on the women leadership positions in media. So this is an area that we'd like to work with other partners at actually getting the data. So what's the percentage of women in leadership positions in Malawian media, including local radio station, community radio stations, because we tend to focus only on the urban centers, but it's very important that we also know what's going on in the rural areas. So EU will be interested to work with partners on this and to provide some data so that we can take the next steps.
Meanwhile, Mr. Malawi chairperson Teresa Ndanga commended the concept the international organizations used of bringing some female practitioners together for an interaction and discussion on issues affecting their profession.
This particular meeting has been very important because the female journalists have been able to have a conversation with female heads of international organizations or indeed embassies. This will especially help us out to look at the areas that we need to focus more in terms of gender-based violence, and it's more specifically what the challenges the women and girls are facing, especially that is to do with their gender. And on the other end, our colleagues look at the solutions that they can provide. And therefore there is a need that we continue with this particular conversation to see where our two sides can meet to be able to provide a long-lasting solution to the challenges that women and girls are facing in the country.
The female media practitioners' interaction with female heads of diplomatic missions Thursday evening in Nilongwe was part of this year's activities to mark International Women's Day. For Zodiak in Nilongwe, this is Jacqueline Shema reporting.
Deputy Inspector General of Police responsible for operations, Temiste Chigwenembe, has asked police officers to maintain discipline and professionalism in their duty to win back public confidence. The Deputy IG said police officers are servants of people and must work towards achieving this goal of protecting people's lives and property. No Kubwi has the details.
I want each and every station, the officers should be proud to be seen doing patrols, erecting what we call ad hoc roadblocks. And if anything, I'm encouraging the officers to be very professional, including customer care, when they are manning those roadblocks. We want our officers to be seen that they are performing their job professionally. We don't want to hear unnecessary stories of corruption, bribe, this and that. No. What we are saying is 2021, we want to try to say no to corruption. And we want our officers to be performing their duties without fear or favor. No? I'm also encouraging even the detectives to arrest those who have broken the law, because our role is to enforce the law. We need to enforce the law and refer the lawbreakers to the courts. The story should not end up at the police station. The story should end up at the courts, because that's what we are supposed to do. We need to arrest somebody we are sure has broken the law and then refer that person to the courts. That is what we are supposed to do as police officers. And then I would like to encourage the officers as well to love their job, to be smart in everything, and they should refrain from being misbehaving. They need to control their discipline, whether they are in uniform or they are in civilian.
Let's now move on to sports. FAM President Walter Nyamilandu has failed in his bid to retain the FIFA Council seat after losing to Nigeria's Amaju Pinnick. During CAF elections held in Rabat, Morocco Friday, Nyamilandu lost by 43 votes to 8. Pinnick is the president for the Nigerian Football Association. The two contested the Anglophone bloc slot after 4 other hopefuls withdrew from the race. Sam Banda with the details.
Despite the 11th hour withdrawal of Zambia's Andrew Kamanga, Gambian Lamini Baba Bajo, Kenyan Nicholas Mwendwa, and Tanzania's FA President Wallace Karia, Nyamilandu, who was first elected in 2017, found it hard to convince the delegates in Rabat to give him another 4-year mandate, as they instead opted for Nigeria's Football Federation leader, Amaju Mervyn Pinnick, who has won the race for the Anglophone slot in the FIFA Council with a landslide victory. Pinnick, who reportedly garnered support from COSAFA, pulled an overwhelming 43 votes against 8 for Nyamilandu, who floored 2010 World Cup Local Organizing Committee chairperson and incumbent South African Football Association President Dr. Danny Jordan. Football analyst George Kaudzamasina, who earlier predicted a tough race for the farm president, is not surprised with the result.
The writing was already on the wall that it would take a miracle for Walter Nyamilandu to retain his FIFA seat. When you're going for these elections, you should be crafty to make sure that you already know who are going to vote for you. And it was already clear Walter was not a favored candidate. Walter and his crew made a very big mistake by not involving government in these elections. Government in these elections, they do play a leading role to lobby other post ministers for your candidate. But what they did was a one-man band. So we are not surprised.
Meanwhile, South African mining business magnate Patrice Motsepe, who also owns the Rainbow Nations Premier Soccer League champions Mamelodi Sundowns, has been elected the new Confederation of African Football CAF president, succeeding Ahmad Ahmad, who was restricted from contesting as he serves a 2-year ban.
Well, that's it for now. Let's take another look at the headlines before we leave. Judiciary fires controversial senior magistrate Benedicto Gitsagamire and 2 others. Chakwera pays courtesy call to former Malawi leader Dr. Bakiri Muluzi at his BCA Hill residence in Blantyre. Government nullifies financial repayment TPP administration made with Muli brothers amounting to 10.5 billion kwacha. In sports, Nyamilandu loses FIFA Council seat. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. Remember, COVID-19 is not over yet, so follow all preventive measures without fail. My name is Chancellor Zavanda. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful weekend.